Welcome back to Kaiserpunk. It's episode number 2. Before we continue on with our basic requirements, next up getting into military, I felt it was really important that we spend some time and invest some resources to make sure that we have a positive balance across the board with our existing stock so that we aren't running short of anything, but also so that we can build up some reserves. And we already have some in areas like cloth. We have a lot. But I noticed that clothing and the newspapers, both luxury items, are still short of where we need to be. And so I just added in another clothier and another printing press. Before long, the deliveries will arrive. Our delivery trucks can only work so fast. And so once they get there, those will get underway, and we should, at that point, at least have a positive balance across the board. And it's already leading to some additional development levels in key areas. But speaking of these lowest levels, civics, military, they're going to be the kind of primary focus so that everything has a good start before we really kind of get into the next tier across the board. In order to start producing tanks, we're going to have to get all the way to the second tier of military production. So beginning in the first tier, which we already have a few points somehow, we need a military base. We're going to need a munitions factory, and that might be a better place to start, though we don't have brass, we don't have lead, we don't have chemicals, we don't have steel. So we're kind of missing all of those things. We could begin with a factory for a military factory that's going to provide rations. That would actually probably be a good place to start. That's something we could definitely get on the go. But even then, we don't have the resources necessary right now, in particular bricks. We do need to get that on the go. The resources like the coal and the copper are sitting idle for the moment. I actually probably should be selling some of that in the meantime to help make a profit, but we're making a profit anyway, so we don't necessarily need to sell what we have. So in the meantime, I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to get clay and brick. Building on fire. For a moment I thought we were having another riot on our hands, despite that morale is actually quite high, but that's because the laborers, we've got them sorted out. It's the manufacturers, and that's why we just have not bothered to repair either of these buildings as of yet. I need proper jobs for them first. Brickworks is finally ready to go. We're going to get it placed here in a relatively good spot. There is no great spot. We're looking at kind of a scenario. The resources are not near one another. You need more than one type of resource to make the brick. We need clay and we need coal. Yes, it requires more clay than coal, and so for part of that reason, we're a lot closer to the nearby clay deposit and depot. It's not going to take them too long to deliver clay to here. Coal will have to come in from down this way, and it'll take a bit longer to get there, but we won't need it in as large of a quantity. But that finally begins brick production, which we had some to start the game with, but this is now going to be the first time we begin producing any. It's going to take a while though before those resources arrive. That also used up our labor pool. There's still a decent immigration interest with a couple new houses that we added in. Adding a second elementary school, because we do have one over that way, but they are very much not covered down here. As we grow and expand into this outer edge of the current downtown, another fire station is going to be important, and it all helps us kind of push that civics. We are getting very close to getting the police station unlocked, and we need that. We definitely need that. But we now have a low population count, so once again, it's just this constant balance of trying to get more. We found the American Northern Hunters. Okay, I think it's about time we go check in and see what we can find in regards to them. For now, we are neutral to each other. So through basic trade, we have made a lot of discoveries of the things around us. We have discovered Alaska, Hiawatha, the Hudson lowlands are all new territories that we've found. Pampas, some other African and European and Asian nations. Sichuan, yes, we were right. That is the Empire of Spice. I figured that they would be somewhere right around there. Also Indochina, North Australia. So a lot of regions have been discovered here over time. And is this... No, that's minors. We have not discovered where they are on the map, unless that's them. No, that's Iceland, and that's also minor. The American Northern Hunters are just above us in the Cascades and Alaska. So it looks like Alaska is their... yeah, it's much more stable. Alaska is their core, their headquarters, and they've already moved into the Cascades, encroaching into our territory. So we are going to have to work quickly. There is a no garrison level there. If we wanted something, we have buildings on fire. Let's get back into the map. It's funny how I add a fire station, and then we get fires. A couple homes. What is this one? The cellulose factory. It seems these require a different level of repair job. Same here than the houses do. Like when they're green, the yellow and red, we have not been able to resolve those repair jobs at this stage. Not sure why that is. We'll figure it out eventually. Okay, still struggling on resources. Oh, you need water and electricity. Well, you should have electricity. You have employees. Yeah, they're not maxed out. We might not have water in the area though, but we can resolve that quickly and easily enough. Now it has electricity and water, which means now they'll be looking to have supplies delivered. Well, anyway, Captain Ray Western of the American Northern Hunters. We are very neutral at the moment. So in an attempt to negotiate a trade, I'm learning a little bit at least about where the nation that we saw being in second not so long ago, where they stand in terms of resources. They've got a lot of the same resources we have. There's a couple things that they are doing that we are not. One, they already have a brick production, but that's about to come together, so I'm not worried about that. But they do have crude oil, but they're not doing anything with it. But, well, they are making rubber, it looks like. So they do have rubber. There's chemicals. They are making radios, ale. They are making meat, and a couple other raw resources. I think maybe a luxury item like radios might be a good one to bring in a small amount of. And it looks like we could add 44 radios and 55 ale at the cost of 800 lumber, which we're not using anything for at the moment. And it'll build relations by 4%. That's one of the key reasons to go for this. Oh, no depot nearby for the brickworks. Okay, that's something we can fix. I am noticing though that I am having to add depots sporadically around the area. So we've got a depot here now. We've got a depot over here. The one kind of centralized depot that we had covering all of the production in the downtown area just was insufficient. But this will help diversify things and get more vehicles out there moving goods about. There we go. Supplies are present. Brickworks are working. Well, it looks like we have the capability to make our own brewery and our own ale. We might as well get on with that particular task. Laborers, nearly a shortage. Bricks? Okay, bricks are in. We got 38 bricks. We are producing bricks, which means we can actually make laborer high rises, like we have one there. That's going to provide 80 laborers instead of 30. It's basically it's our tier 2. We also now have access to a coal power plant. We could burn coal to make electricity that way. And that's going to use manufacturers, which is going to give us, finally, a job for them. We're going to put this down in the direction of coal, a little bit outside of town. I don't know what it's going to do for us. Fix up one of these guys. Get those manufacturers to work it. We're also seeing needs start to come along. We could produce meat from ranches. We can also get a fishery. And we do have coastline close by, so getting a fishery is kind of an easy one, and there are some trade-offs to having that. More housing, another depot, and now a ranch have all been added in as we continue to grow. And speaking of grow, that almost always throws off your numbers in various areas, so we're going to be checking how we're doing. 4-4-3-4 2 now. So civics has reached a 2. We can get a police station, so we'll get to that here in a second. But yes, see, now we have some negative balances. We're going to need more bread, more clothing, more newspapers, more paper, and more vegetables. So we'll start with bread. That's going to bring flour into a negative, so yeah, there's going to be a few steps to get that all back to a positive. But we also suddenly have the ability to repair a few buildings that couldn't be repaired before. Also, looks like we have a level up available for our town center. Ooh, so we have kind of a direction to choose. If we go towards unions, we get production of laborers of their needs. So we're going to get a +1 to their needs category. We're going to get +5 to immigration interest. So laborers are going to be pretty happy if we go that direction. If we go towards pacifism, production of tier 1 resources goes up 1, and development points, which is handy. But we can also head towards a nation state and pick up development points and infantry attack, which is the playthrough that we were headed into. That was the background we picked. So we are going to choose the nation state. We will enact that policy. And so the nation state has grown from a simple wooden palisade to a bit more of a proper town center. I'm going to still have to work down the production chain on this one, but I'm adding in not 1 but 2 bakeries. 1 bakery for a pie and 1 bakery to add more bread. So for the pies, it's going to use flour, which we already have production of, and fruit. Fruit we are not getting yet, so that's something we're going to have to take care of down the chain. Oh, the orchard's not available until we get to agriculture 6. Well, I'm sure we'll get there soon enough. We've started our soup kitchen. We've added another vegetable farm, and I'm really watching closely these days for little pop-ups above each of the buildings as they show off whether they're missing something or not. But we are making some pretty good progress in certain areas, and this is one of those areas that it's time, but we are a little short on plywood at the moment. I think long term I should be increasing our production. Well, adding in another forester and 2 plywood lumber yards is going to drastically increase. We've doubled our production rate, so we'll finally be able to get on top of things there, which allows me to get back over here to a police station that we can finally afford. This is our very first police station, and it's very much something we want to keep near the town center for our first one. It'll cover the town center and some of housing. Looks like we'll need another one here on this other side to cover kind of the rest of our main housing area. Another fire, this one taking place literally straight across the street from the new police station and right around the corner from the new fire station, and it looks like it's a power shortage in the area that might be causing some of the issues here. So we're going to get another substation placed. Oh, that's a substation under. Fire right there, isn't it? Wow, what in the world is going on? We got fires all over the place all of a sudden. My focus for a while has definitely been about building up positive balances once again in other areas. I just put in a new clothier, so we should have a positive balance there soon enough. It's the newspapers is the last one that we are not producing enough of that luxury good, so we'll get on with that, and then that'll finally allow us to focus our attention in other areas. At the very least, we're really close now. The production is still new, so it might still be ramping up for those final steps of the clothes and the newspapers, but it's looking good to go for the short term for us to now focus elsewhere. First up for us was going to be the military factory. First factory making food rations is up and running, and then meanwhile we are also have made our first barracks, our first battalion barracks. So it's not ready to create the units yet, but it's in place. It has no upkeep cost, just the initial cost, so gone ahead and got that going. It did push us to that next military tier, though, so we can now make the vehicle factory. The infantry tank is what they want us to make. We need steel for that, so we will work backwards. The upkeep's pretty high, so we need to get steel production on the go. We already have the smelter unlocked for this with 4 different options there, but we have the iron and coal to make steel. So we probably want to set this up somewhere around this area here. Once again, buildings on fire, and always in this same area we have fire stations there, but maybe, we're gonna need 70. We need a lot more manufacturers. Okay, that's fixed easily enough. Manufacturers' houses. We've added a new appliances factory that's producing gramophones, which is another it's a luxury good for manufacturers. Manufacturers with the new military production, the vehicle factory, we need a ton of them. It is oh, hello. I have to choose a production queue. Okay. Well, the infantry tank is what we need, and we need 5 of them initially. I think we're going to probably need more than that. Let's take 10 instead. Okay, that is underway. And we're down to 11. We'll get 15 more at the last residence that I gained, so we'll have a slight positive balance there. Looking good so far. So with this rapid advancement, we are finding some new options out there. There's new housing options. We've been using that laborer high-rise. The manufacturer high-rise is only getting us, or regular house is only getting us so far, but now the manufacturer high-rise has come available, and I'll go ahead and get one of those in. That'll be the first of its kind. And then we do have the technician house, so the 3rd tier technician, the tier 3, is ready, but we already learned the hard way. You don't want to go too early with that, but of course police stations are at least now a thing. I mean, there's one right there to help us keep things at bay. As for utilities, that coal power plant is still the latest and greatest advancement we have there. As for transportation, we now have asphalt roads available to us. We now have a quay. We have a way to extend the coastline and kind of set up construction there. We also have warehouses instead of just the simple depots. It's still the same in the cultivation buildings. The fishery being the latest, we still do not have agriculture level 6 for the orchard, but we might get there soon enough, because I probably will check my balance and find that we are negative in a number of areas. But as for raw resources, we have coal mines, iron mines, we have copper. We do not yet have zinc. It's out there. We do have clay. We have not unlocked lead, but crude oil is available to us. I haven't seen any crude oil in the area, though. We might have to go a ways to find that. And gravel is nearby, as well as limestone. So there are a few new options to get into, but I want to make sure our balance is positive again, as we've done a lot recently. It very well could have impacted a few of our balances. So the flour mill, the bakery, the weaver, the clothier, The brewery, which we do have up now, and the soup kitchen are all still the primaries there. We do have at least one of all of those, but look at all this new heavy industry stuff, all these resources we have. We already have lumber yards. We added more. We have 5 of those in all, and suddenly we have a good amount of plywood. And it's no longer something we're running short of. We have 1 brickworks, but it's doing fine. We got 463 brick, at least for now it's doing fine. Maybe later we'll need an additional. We only have the 1 active smelter, but that's iron and coal. For the moment, we don't have zinc or lead, so we're not going to be able to do anything. There's our 5. We have our 5. Looks like we're going to be on our way to... We have an investigation going on, and that'll prep us into what to do next. But we suddenly have potential relations with 4 different nations. We have found 4 of the AIs at this point. Checking in. Conquest. Wow, we are way behind in Conquest. Oh my goodness, especially those American Northern Hunters just above us. Diplomatic victory. We're doing pretty good there. The only relations are the ones that we have built, but it looks like there's a couple negative relations. And where we were ahead on scientific supremacy, we are suddenly massively behind. We got caught up there for a while. We went from leading to trailing massively. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's making me nervous. This playthrough is suddenly not looking so good. So first off, the development. 5, 5, 4, almost 5 on the manufacturing. So that's one that was trailing behind, is very much caught up now, or mostly caught up anyway. It's about to hit level 5. Utilities is up to level 6. Civics is still lagging behind, but at least it does have that level 3 now. We're going to have to invest a little bit more there. Transport at level 8 is our highest. Morale is about to hit level 3, and we should probably target that. Well, military is just now starting to take off and get going, and that's where we're really lagging behind. So morale seems to be the next target that we want to get into, finishing up a level. The brewery, we certainly did. Maybe we can throw in some upgrades. We're already doing the ale. The appliance factory is new, but we only have the lumber and copper available to us. We don't yet have plastics or rubber or aluminum sheets and electrical parts, but rubber would be a pretty doable thing. Maybe we could start making our own radios soon enough. Now here's the big thing. I knew we were going to be falling into some negatives. We're behind on vegetables, newspapers, copper. I was producing copper. What happened? I'll have to go check on copper. Maybe it burnt down or something. Because we have 2K. We're just suddenly producing 0. Probably burnt down. Bread, clothes, newspapers, vegetables. It stopped functioning because the local stock was full and because we were maxing out on the copper available. Received a diplomatic note. Empire of Spice does not like us, maybe seeing us as vulnerable. We did just unlock the clinic for health services. That's a new one. Let's go ahead and get it placed. Our first unit is going to be a infantry tank unit, but it requires 30 tanks. I think I made 10 initially, so we are getting more made up. We're also going to get some artillery made up, so it's time to get our military going. I think that's one of the reasons why we are so far behind everybody else at the moment. Alright, so the only negative balance is a false one because we are maxed out on copper that says -3. We just can't produce more because we're maxed out, though production would be fine otherwise. So everything now has a positive balance. Once again, we're ready to continue our expansion, and I want to start with what is the weakest. Well, we've got morale up to that tier 3, which means, what did we unlock? Appliance bonuses. Okay, well, military at level 2 is the lowest, so that seems to be the obvious area to go. We've already got the vehicle factory. Looks like one of the most common things additionally we're going to need is rubber, but what about the other stuff? What can we do? Like, we're going to need ammunition. We need a munitions factory. We have cellulose. We are not making brass or chemicals or lead. That seems an obvious direction we need to go. To make the brass, we need another smelter. We already have the copper. What we don't have is zinc. So it's time to start working on zinc. We'll put that nearby to here. Alright, we had to travel a ways to get to the zinc. We are on the other side of the sound. Oh, that suddenly just hurt our population count. Because it was ease of use and we already have a depot built here, I went ahead and got our limestone factory included as well. Alright, next shortage is cloth. Cloth suddenly at -12. Well, the Empire of Spice is now hostile towards us. It's because we've gone in different directions politically. Speaking of, it's time to level up our town center once again. As we already picked that nation state, that's where our political alignment goes one direction. So what we have for the second tier, we have development points, we have battalion supplies necessary. I like that. I don't care about the fleet. I think it's going to be more about we'll go in the direction of reforms, which should pull us back towards center a bit. And suddenly we find ourselves in a new era. Power supply is starting to run low. Water supply is okay for now, but we're going to need more eventually. We're doing well in a lot of areas except pace. The others are increasing much faster than we are, and for that it's looking a little tricky. It's looking really tricky, but we're going to have units soon. Do we have that first unit? We do. We have one unit for our first battalion. It's only one unit, but we're on track. We're getting started. We need handguns to make militia, field guns, and then of course those infantry tanks. Okay, the handguns are going to be made from lumber and steel, so we're going to go ahead and make another military factory to start producing handguns, and then we will be able to start getting battalions together here pretty quickly. Now the Golden Union doesn't like us either. We're making enemies. So speaking of, what is going on around us? Cascade, American Northern, American Northern, American Northern, American Northern, American North. Oh, we are surrounded. This is the only miner left. They still have a garrison of 3, and we are just now producing our first armies. And meanwhile, they've got a big old garrison, but nothing just above us or around us. So actually, we could walk all over these territories and claim them for ourselves. And right now, we seem to have neutral relations with them, but yeah, we could be in a whole lot of trouble. Alright folks, well, we grew rapidly, and then, the enemies grew more rapidly. And so we find ourselves in a bit of a pickle with the AI. Resources, development, everything is keeping up. We're keeping that positive balance. The only thing now, after we just added the handgun factory, is suddenly we're going to need more manufacturers again. But they're happy. We are ready to get into that third tier. We're getting more development in other areas, and of course we are 5-6. I'd say we're averaging about a 5 overall, but it's the military morale and civics, still same 3, that are lagging behind a little bit, but 2 of those were almost 3 and are now comfortably 3. The other one was not quite 2 and is now not quite 3. So we've made some good progress there in the last little bit of gameplay, trying to catch up, and meanwhile the others just keep taking off and doing really well and opening new possibilities for us. But we are absolutely, without a doubt, behind where we need to be to keep pace with the AI. So maybe I need to slow things down and really dig in and make things happen. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.